This is part one of a $2,800 bank strap search, and it turned up several fancy serial numbers with profit potential. In this video, I'll break down each one and estimate its value based on what similar bills have recently sold for on eBay. The star notes and older bills from this same hunt will be covered in the next video, so if you want to see what those add to the value of this entire search, make sure to catch that one too. Let's get into it. This first bill is a low serial number bill with 5 leading zeros ending in 787. For this, I focused on comps with serial number ranges close to mine from the 500s to the 900s. So on screen, you're just going to see 3 comps. You're going to see the low, and then the high, and then a comp near the average. The lowest sale was $34, and the highest sale was $79.95. That brought it to an average of $55.91 per bill. And with a little less than half of those comps sitting below the average, I'd estimate my bill between $45 to $55. And I usually put bills like this in the currency sleeve just to help preserve the condition. I've linked the ones I use below if you want to check them out. Low serial numbers consistently draw stronger resale, especially when 5 or more leading zeros are present. The running total is $45 to $55. Next, I found 3 birthday notes. These are bills where the serial number can read like a date, and collectors love them because they can line up with real birthdays or anniversaries. 2 of the bills have a serial number pattern layout that reads year, month, and day. For those, I looked at 61 sold comps, and prices range from $347 up to $44.51, and the average was at $17.03 per bill. Now, 48% of those sold above the average, so I'd estimate each of mine in the $16 to $17 range. This third bill could be read as either year, day, month, or year, month, day. For that one, I compared 3 overlapping sets of comps, the ones we just went over plus 2 additional sets. One of those sets of comps was for the year, day, month layout, and those averaged $14.53 over 20 sales, the lowest at $5.32 and a high of $25, with 60% of those above the average. Then I cross-checked that with 19 comps where the date could be read either way, and after adjusting for skewed results from a seller who accounted for 1/3 of the comps, which all sold below $6, the average was $16.22 per bill, with 55% of the sales sitting above the average. All 3 sets of comps overlap within the same range, so I would estimate this bill at $16 to $17. Birthday notes keep steady demand because they appeal to a wider buyer pool, not just collectors, but gift buyers looking for matching dates. This brings the running total to between $93 and $106. Next, I found this radar note where the serial number reads the same forward as it does backwards, and this is also called a palindrome. I looked at 51 sold comps for these, and prices ranged from $279 on the low end to $30.14 at the high end, with an average of $13.06 per bill. About 41% of the sales were above the average, so I'd estimate my bill a little south of the average at $12 to $13. Radar notes consistently hold strong resale because they're instantly recognizable and attract broader buyer interest. The running total is now $105 to $119. Next is a fancy serial number called quad pairs, and this sequence occurs when there are 4 grouped pairs of digits together in a serial number. I found 30 sold bills for these, and they ranged from $3 on the low end, which is what they average in this set of 3 for $9, up to $15.98 on the high end, with an average of $7.96 per bill. Only 10 were above the average, so I'd estimate mine slightly below average at around $5 to $6. Quad pairs hold moderate but reliable resale value because they hit the sweet spot between symmetry and scarcity. They're easy to recognize but not common enough to flood the market. This ups the running total to between $110 to $125. Then came this really interesting 2 bill find. These are in sequential order. We have one with 5 repeating digits in a row, and then the next one has 4 repeating digits in a row. I couldn't find any comps of that exact pairing being sold together, so I looked at each pattern separately, and for the 5 in a row bill, I looked at 44 comps, which average $871 per bill, the low of $365 and a high of $1650. 55% of those sold above the average, so I'd estimate my bill slightly above that midpoint at $9 to $10. For the 4 in a row bill, the average out of 18 comps was $472 per bill, running from $240 on the low end up to $8 on the high end. With 44% sitting above that average, I would estimate my bill around $4 to $5. When you combine them as a set, the total estimated value would land between $13 and $15, but because of the unique sequential pairing, I'd place the estimate at the high end at $15 for the set. Sequential notes with repeating patterns can show stronger resale potential because it's less common to find back-to-back bills that both carry a standout pattern, so that kind of pairing gives the find a premium edge and stronger perceived uniqueness. The running total is now $125 to $140. And the last find to go over is this series 1995 X note. Now these are special because districts don't usually print enough bills to reach that X suffix letter. Each letter starting from A covers roughly 96 million bills with the exception of O and Z, which aren't used. And X notes were last printed in series 2009. Since 1995 is a slightly older issue, I limited comps to just the 1995 series, and there were 7 sold comps ranging from $2.82 up to $8.49 with an average of $5.11. 3 sold above the average, so I'd estimate mine a bit under that at around $4 to $5. Since fewer older series X notes remain in circulation, they carry solid long-term collectability, and that keeps resale activity consistent. Altogether, that brings the total value for the fancy serial numbers from this $2,800 bank strap search to around $129 to $145 based on current eBay comps. In part 2, I'll break down the star notes and older bills from this same hunt to see how much more that total grows. If that video is already up, you'll see it linked right here on screen, and if not, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss when it drops. Thanks for watching.